Okay, now we have this right, Suzana Kahn, Brazil's National Climate Change Secretary. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, especially into this now depleted and somewhat chilly exhibition.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit cold inside.
Now, I have to ask you, Brazil has an enormous delegation. Someone told me it's the largest delegation now at the talks.
Yes, it is. But this is mainly because we consider everyone as a party. And this issue now in Brazil has been very crucial, and everybody is pretty aware about the problem, especially because of deforestation and things like that. So everybody is willing to see what is going to happen here.
Okay, in one way it perhaps is a little symbol of the changing world, where it used to be always the US that had the big delegation and the European Union, and now developing countries are beginning to be rather dominant and have big delegations, even bigger than some of the old industrial powers. Okay, well, what you've said begs the question, really, what is Brazil's interest? You've mentioned forests. What do you want? Why, the big delegation, you're obviously come here to fight for something. What is the outcome you want?
Well, the outcome we want is a deal, and we are feeling that at least up to the moment, the main offers, the main effort are coming from developing countries. So we are pretty much waiting to see what is coming from US, because if you see, Brazil had shown a tremendous effort in terms of reducing its expectation of emissions, a very high expectation, about 40%. We've seen a movement from even China, so we really are willing to see a movement from US, because without US willingness to participate, to engage in this global deal, it will be very difficult. So that's what we are aiming to achieve here.
But what my colleague Jeffrey Allen, who's monitoring Twitter, and it's interactive. People are looking at our website, OneClimate.net, and we sometimes get questions, so I'll throw them at you if they come in, or Jeffrey will. And he knows that the US is not going to join Kyoto. It's out of the question. So what is it you want them to do actually that would within this conference?
Well, a similar deal, even in the other track, the LCA track, there is a space for their position there, but it should be legally binding so that it can be compared to Kyoto effort, because I understand the other countries, the other developed countries that are blaming that their complaint is that if they have a lot of commitments under Kyoto Protocol, it's not fair if one big developed country is without the same level of commitment. So I think it must be comparable, the efforts among developed countries. So even though the US is not joining KP, there must have a similar commitment under the LCA deal.
KP, if you've just joined and haven't been following, OneClimate is not peanuts, it's the Kyoto Protocol, just so we all know. So has there been any indication in the negotiations so far that the US will accept this suggestion that you're making? It's more than a suggestion, it's, well, I wouldn't call it a demand, but would accept this position.
Well, up to now, they are very reluctant to accept that, but I think it's the only way to achieve something. And I think that if President Obama is coming here to join the conference, I don't think that he's coming not to send a message to the whole world. So we are very in a high expectation to listen to him, because I don't understand if he's coming tomorrow, what for, if it's not to make a good deal.
And the good deal would be some commitment on cuts. And money?
Certainly, the financial issue it's crucial for the whole world because some of the countries are connecting their efforts to the finance. So, if you don't have a global fund, at least we need to set up the basic elements. What is the fund? How will be the transparency of this fund? So the framework, the concept must be decided here, even though the details, the money, the amount of money, the criteria, everything could be decided later on. I think this is not the problem. The main problem for me is to set the framework, the conceptual framework of the deal here in Copenhagen.
And we're on the outside and you're on the inside. Is it going to happen? Are you going to be able to, are the indications so far that you will be able to set these outlines?
Well, I guess so, but some things appears in the last minute, or even after the last minute. In Bali was that way, a lot of effort, and up to the very end, we didn't know what is going to happen. So until the conference is closed, I think there is a hope.
Oh, okay. Now, Jeffrey Allen has got picked up some movement on the internet or Twitter.
Yes, I'll remind everybody that this is OneClimate.net, and you can post your questions or comments to any of our guests at OneClimate.net or using the Twitter hashtag OneClimate. One thing that people are talking about on Twitter is actually this climate change performance index that came out a few days ago, and it actually it ranks different countries about how much they're doing about climate change. So shifting the conversation a little bit from what Brazil wants to what Brazil is doing. The first three ranking spots in this index, interestingly, were left completely blank because they say no country is doing enough to stop dangerous climate change. However, the first country that comes in on that index is Brazil, doing the most of any country to combat climate change. So do you feel that everything that Brazil is doing to combat climate change gives your country more strength in these talks to say, look, we're out there doing what needs to be done, so now we need to the rest of you to follow along?
Yes, that was our main purpose to set up our plan, our targets before Copenhagen, so that we arrive here with this proposal, and therefore we are expecting that other countries join us in this big effort. I think the sign that we are sending to the world is that since we are a developing country, a big country, a lot of disparities inside the country, if we can do that, the rest of the world can, of course, for sure, do something.
And another one?
Yeah, one of our viewers wants to know what exactly is Brazil offering in terms of Amazon deforestation, halting, slowing that, and also emission cuts.
I knew the Amazon would come up quickly.
Yeah, well, in terms of the Amazon, we are expecting to cut deforestation rate in 80%. So this is a huge amount of carbon that won't be emitted in 2020. So this is our main goal. Most part of this reduction will come from reducing deforestation in the Amazon region. But we also have a target to reduce the increase of the emission in the Cerrado biome, which is a kind of savanna, in 40%. This is again a huge number. The other sectors that we are reducing emissions will be in the energy sector, agriculture sector, because there is a huge potential to reduce emissions from agriculture, and also industrial sector in mainly the steel, because we are turning to produce steel from charcoal from planted forests, not from coal or charcoal from native forests. So those are our main targets in terms of reducing emissions. Of course, we can do much more than that, and that's what we are asking for, financing, so that we can improve even more our proposal.